So we
Okay,
went
we're going live.
Okay, because remember it takes like a
On a
minute.
lot
or
of stuff,
whatever.
Yeah.
it doesn't amount to a hill of beans.
My biggest expense was my Visa card.
We are live.
But it's second.
It's gasoline. I mean, like I was in Cincinnati last night.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there Thursday.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be in Columbus Saturday. I mean,
A lot of travel.
oh, well, Thursday is Addison's last home senior night and everything, soccer game. So,
So we're on TV
Yes, we are.
and
So,
we're ready.
So let me
It's
get
time.
the, recording going.
I want blue.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Oh, my goodness. Are we ready?
We are
Yes.
ready.
All right.
the flag's in the corner.
I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, for those of you joining, welcome to the monthly meeting of the County Board of Elections. We are present with the exception of Mrs. Ritter, who had a personal matter that she had to attend to, and so she advised us that she would not be here today. But we're otherwise ready to go. We have our director and deputy director present. And since there's no public here to comment, I think we'll move right to the matter of the minutes, which I think have been given to us. And they are both August and our September.
You should have August and September.
I'll be honest with you, I forgot.
August and September.
Did you guys get these? By email?
Yeah. I just forgot.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Any, I have motion second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, passes. I'll go ahead and sign mine. as
Yes, sign
the-
that one and I gotta get it
That
to the
way I
vendor.
can just pass it down.
One side.
There you go. So bills.
You get several bills.
Yeah, we were just talking about our own bills. Remind me again about the run back license fee. That's just the standard for, is that for what, for lack of a better phrase, is the ballot art?
Yes, what would have been our former ballot, or they call it the Cindy-O
Right.
machine.
That was impressive.
That was kind of impressive.
The director launched half of her.
I saw something, I thought a bug or a snake. Fly out.
Never had that happen before.
That's a good sign. Launched your own missile.
At least no one got hurt.
Right. Then the other, well, the small one is Aardvark.
Yeah, Aardvark is our, security monitoring system, so we got them to bill us annually for that, so that's for a whole year.
Now, what does that consist of? I mean, I know that,
We have, well, they have the cameras up, so they monitor, the cameras, plus we have a panic, each of us has a panic button. So if something would happen,
okay,
we could just hit that panic button and they call the police, so.
how do they determine the price? Is it based on how many cameras you have, or?
You know, I'm not sure, actually,
Okay.
how I would say it probably, does, and then it would also call, like, if it does, would call the police if,
Oh, believe
Are
me.
they monitoring it
alarm
so
would
you
go
actually
off.
notify them and then
They would automatically, if the alarm would go off, like if someone were trying to break in, they would automatically call the police.
Right. All right, so,
The Apex, I talked to the company that made our ballot drop box, because we had some condensation
oh, yeah.
in there. He said I was the first person ever to contact them and let them know that. So I don't know if we got a dummy box or, but he suggested silicone caulking. So last week when we were doing the LNA testing, Mike Weber went to Apex and got some and he caulked it and it seems to be working. I don't know about today. We are getting stuff. People are dropping their ballots off. They're dropping off their applications for the absentees as well.
Well, we're
That'll be when it
next couple days, I think, like the weekend.
Yeah,
Looks like rain today, even.
yeah.
It does.
Well, I will tell you, and if you ever have to go out there, I think one thing that helps is make sure that red basket, or, the tub is pushed all the way to the back. Because that condensation, it looks like it's dripping from that front door when we pull. That basket is pushed back into the ballots or anything. But it seems to be working right now, so like you say, with the rain coming out, we'll find out.
If it rains, should we check that ballot?
Oh, if it rains, yeah, if it rains over the weekend, I'm unfortunately out of town all weekend. Yeah, we should have somebody, and you see, you're supposed to have a DM and all. So,
So I could see if we'll send it. Check it just recent time.
yeah, because if it's raining, we really don't want,
Well, we'd like to know, because, there's no reason to have it too.
So they're not sitting in water all
Right. And then you kind of know from there what we got.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's good.
the other thing that we didn't have in a, what it is. Hello, how are you? Oh, this is our new liaison, Caleb.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh. Right from Worcester.
Yes.
And,
This is our new Secretary of State liaison, Caleb, and I'm sorry, Caleb, your last name again?
Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce. He is the new Alex. His Alex went to Secretary LaRose's campaign. So welcome, Caleb.
Difference is that Brother Pavlov had a longer drive down here.
Yes, he did.
Thank you.
And where are you from?
Worcester area.
Worcester? Yeah, that's all right.
If you're familiar with Wayne County, then it's Smithville specifically, but
Yeah, that's where, isn't it where like, is it Smithville meets or something? I thought, maybe not.
we used to have a meat packing plant that was it was the local scariest building in town
Oh.
until my church bought it and tore it down for a parking lot.
Oh, okay.
That was good. We're famous for the barn restaurants.
Oh,
Yes,
the
you are.
barn, yes.
The
Oh,
problem is, it's like how many times we have known too many people that worked at the barn restaurant. But anyways, so, where are we?
we're just going over bills right now.
We have no public comment. We're broadcasting live.
On our YouTube channel.
Just come back when we get to correspondence.
Okay, that's fine. The other thing, that new printer that we bought last year is, making really, really bad copies.
Yeah,
So
we
we
call
thought,
here.
when they come, it works perfectly fine. It's like,
Like when you take your
Yeah.
card in hand.
Yeah, I know the doc.
it's a Kyocera, how do you say that?
Kyocera.
Kyocera. I had never heard of it before.
Yeah,
but-
when you print just like 1 or 2 pages, it works fine, but if you print something that's several pages long, it'll start to smear it across the page, so then you can't read, what's on there.
So we're working
It
with
sounds like
pointers.
the-
We're wondering,
Well,
she
they
asked
fix
if there
it
was
too.
just a day of time,
So
one
once
day
it's
that
heated
it's
up, like she
happening.
made several.
It doesn't
copies
matter if
yesterday,
it's
then
morning or
they're
night,
fine.
to me, it's still
So it's
severe.
when it's cold.
Yeah, it's like
So
when
they're
it's
gonna work
cold.
on it, but if they can't get it fixed, then we'll replace it with a new one.
And then our color copier.
Yeah.
You can kind of notice when you walk in the office, it was open. So it has some kind of problem.
Well, we found
Something came
shrapnel.
apart, yes, something came apart.
Melissa was making copies yesterday and this piece came out. And it looks like, I said it was maybe from a airplane. So we have to, thank God this year better than last year, as much as we reviewed copiers.
So we do have our black.
Now, is that from Pointers also?
Yes, pointers have, responsibility for this machine as well. So when they come in back in today, we're gonna let them know about that. But we do have a smaller copier, it's fine, but luckily we are doing huge jobs. They don't print our ballots, so that's good.
I was going to say, this has nothing to do with the ballot printing.
No.
It's not a backup
No,
for that, so it's really more
Just
stuff
our
that
own
we're
file.
sending it, yeah, and or going out to the public if we have something.
Mhm.
Like, well, stay on top of it. What's a feather flag?
That's the ballot drop box. It's cemented, cemented into the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it has like a metal piece that the flag sits in, and we couldn't locate the one we had, the stand for it.
gee, I wonder why. I
So we
mean,
purchased another one.
have I mentioned this in the past? Just out of curiosity.
Perhaps, yes. So,
Well, if there's no other questions on the bills, I'll make a motion, we accept the bills as presented.
We have a motion and seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Brings us to our handy dandy correspondence.
do you want Caleb to?
did you have something you wanted to say about correspondence?
I mean, just go over it the same way I assumed that you would, but so talk about the directives and advisories, so, directive 2021-20, which, is right here, like, got me an email about that. So, yeah, that's, as you saw, that's pretty much just in regards to, how timely we want, boards to be available to start posting their, unofficial results. It also, deals with, like, you can, trying to remember what you open, absentee ballots, you can do everything but tabulate them until election day. And that's to ensure that when the unofficial results are posted, that does include, absentee, results, because in the past, sometimes that can vary from county to county. Of course, in this state, we're a state that generally drops all of our absentee results in the election day stuff trickles in. We're just trying to tighten that up. The other thing is it really highlights the importance of, see there's a requirement in there that unofficial results be posted on election day or election night. This is part of the Secretary's focus on, like as you're aware, his focus in the 2020 cycle was, when Ohioans go to bed on election night, they need to know who won the state. And part of that is having the results up in a timely manner. And so it really just highlights that. I personally, again, so I am new, I've been on for 5 weeks now. Like I say, I'm not yet an elections expert, but I am slowly becoming one. To my observation, there's not too terribly much more that's changed, except sort of with regards to processing absentees. Am I right there?
Yeah, I didn't notice anything.
So, yeah, but this that sort of directive is more so geared towards a nudge towards our trouble boards, which Havelock assured me does not include. The census issues, the advisory out there was in regards to college students and what, what you have to qualify as being a resident of the city versus not being a resident of the city. This is, of course, more prominent of an issue in areas that have rather large colleges. You have places like Athens, of course, where whether, depending on how many college students you count, can have a significant impact on the population. Then, in regards to the Trumbull County, one I can talk about in a bit there is simply to say that the decision came through and is the unanimous opinion of our legal team that we disagree strongly with the reasons for that decision, but it is what it is, and so the advice that I can give is to say that pretty much if you're ever faced with any issue whatsoever in regards to the number, that they put in the petition, talk to your county prosecutor, because the whole issue is candidates turned in a part petition where their stated number of signatures on it is lower than the actual number of signatures on the petition. And ever since the Brewer administration, it's conventionalism has been that's grounds to reject part petition because which signature didn't do which, right? And that's always been standard practice, but apparently candidate in Trumbull County appealed after one of the part petition was rejected and the Supreme Court of the state ruled that in legal grounds is based on the fact that they're substantially compliant and they can use whatever legal reason they like. We respect the decision of the court. So that is to say that their parts, the ruling specifically had to do with when the number is lower than the number of signatures there. What happens if you see a situation where the number given is higher than the actual number of signatures? What if they leave it blank? In any of those
We
cases,
had some people that left theirs blank.
that's one of the most common things that you've seen. When we talk about what I'm an elections expert on, I have lots of experience with positions and so on and so forth. That's one of the top things that I remind people is fill in the number. But that is to say that pretty much moving forward, if you have any issue whatsoever, you're going to have to talk to your prosecutor about it, use their legal advice. I'm those lawyers, but I'm not one. Talk to people who are lawyers. And the only other thing that's not on here, because I assume it would have been brought up in the previous meeting, is in regards to is in effect now as of September 30th, and that's the prohibition on collaboration with private entities for elections administration and all that. It has always been the position of our office that we do not like the wording of that bill. You can find any lawyer to tell you whatever you want about what collaboration means, and it really makes things unworkable. I understand that in Greene County, their prosecutor gave the legal opinion that it pretty much bars their board members from being involved in central meetings. So some areas are taking it very seriously and very extreme. We disagree with that legal opinion. But yeah, that is to say you can always find a lawyer to tell you that collaboration means whatever you want it to mean. So that's where pretty much our outlook is play it by ear, focus on running elections, right? In my personal opinion, if someone were to be prosecuted for administering a fair election in the state and it led to, being overturned in court, I would but as far as what our office is doing, ever since we saw that legislation being proposed, we were, raising a stink about it. But now that it is in law, we have we're working primarily with the Senate to get draft language through. I understand Senator Rogner is the one with the bill that actually has replacement language. I believe it's in committee right now. That's anyways, we are making progress. I've heard this being looked on favorably in committee, but the thing that they want me to remind you guys is to bother your state legislators about it. Because it's one thing for our office to complain about it, which we've been doing. It's another thing for 88 offices across the state to complain about it, because nobody in elections administration is happy about the wording of that law, so.
I know we were concerned initially when it passed because of a lot of our polling locations are in churches and nonprofit organizations. And that we actually went ahead and sent it to our prosecutor. Our chairman is a lawyer as well. So we did send it to the prosecutor's office and also talked with legal at the Secretary of State's office and determined that voting is not considered part of that collaboration with that entity. So, thank God.
Yeah,
We didn't have to find new polling locations 2 months before the election.
The advisory that at least they gave us for our information, said that exceptions specifically carved out for procuring a polling location, paying fees and feeding poll workers, and that's it. But then of course, I mean, we're gonna tell you anything you like, you're talking to such and so from the church about a polling location, and you utter a single word that doesn't have to do with procuring polling location, then, slap you in cups or whatever. So that's, we continue to have vision with it. Focus on the elections and talk to investigators.
That's why we have
Any questions for me, anything I can pass along?
I had a question, and maybe you can answer it too. The ENR, they outlined specific counties of what time, like the bottom of the hour, top of the hour, half of the hour, quarter hour. When does Washington County?
Well, I was looking at that too.
And I'm like,
I didn't.
I think
see
they
us
only
listed.
named like maybe 15 counties, and last time I looked, Ohio had 88.
We'll have to check and see.
We'll have to find out when we actually are to report.
Which we might get another email.
Yeah, well, I know Matthew sent out a weekend review, and I haven't got a chance to.
I glanced at it, I didn't see anything.
Well, again, we're not seeing anything different. So
Yeah, I
what
mean,
we're
it's
doing,
generally the
we're
same.
already running.
Normally, we do half hour.
Right.
Is what we've done in the past, so we don't hear anything, anything different.
I'll go ahead and ask them and see if.
And
Yeah,
again, there's nothing that's changed with regard, we have, candidates. So there was nothing that changed with regard to the write-in.
Not that
In
I
other words,
saw.
our machine's gonna tell us that
How many
it's gonna
they
impact it could impact the outcome, in which case we have to do the end count.
Well, we'll be able to see, there'll be pictures on
That's
our,
what I mean.
yeah, so we'll be able to.
We'll be able to do it, but I'm just saying, we'll know from the printout
Yeah,
that it
if there's
impacts.
enough.
Yeah, because if they're, if somebody's winning by 300, we got 12.
Right, yeah,
We're
it's really
not
right.
gonna have to pedal to them, we'll do them at the official canvas.
Right. It really would not.
Right, but if on the other hand, it's,
The opposite.
yeah, there's a 12 vote difference.
Yeah.
Under 300 count.
Mhm.
And I don't know if there's an office that is simply, right?
Yeah, we have a fourth ward
It's like
council in
the
Belfast.
same things we're doing
That's only right.
has,
And
is
the
true.
that's
And is it uncontested?
unless you're.
Yes,
with special
usually
impression.
only the right.
That's the thing.
So-
That's what I
That's not
guess.
too bad.
But we're
'Cause
gonna have to count them?
the counties they have listed were part of that special
We'll
election.
check it. We can do that on the tabulation system.
Yeah. Right. But we'll need the final count.
I don't know, I need to look
In
over
other
the
words, can we
forms
look and
to
find
see.
three, if you found 3 signatures, the person's obviously won, he's gonna win.
Right, because he's. the
3,
one that is-
but there could be 300.
Right.
So that's the only other issue, because that delays the report. Can't report it.
Yeah.
Because previously, most counties would say, number of votes for write-in, say write-in.
It just has a
votes.
total.
And then later would be, X votes for.
Yeah.
this.
Usually, it's the next day, the day after the
Right,
election,
that's
that we
when
have
we've
to,
done it.
yeah, that we have to have a turn. So I would figure that out.
But it seems to me there was an existing advisory, yeah, that said that if it's outcome determined, it has to be counted before you go home.
Yeah. Which we can, like I said, we can do that now on our tabulation system, so I don't think that should take too long. No, we do have 4 Independence Township, Jed was our only actual candidate. And there's 2 seats available for township trustee. So we will have, so one of the write-ins, there's 3 write-ins. So at least, one,
So
The
again,
two
that's
write-ins,
another
but-
one.
I
that-
was gonna say,
Yeah.
could not, if 2 write-ins got more votes than
Then
the
yeah,
candidate, then.
yeah, then the 2 write-ins. So that's one we'll have to check. Because even if our candidate wins,
Right, so we at
at
least
least
have
one of the
those
write-ins is
is
gonna
going
make
to
it.
make it through.
Right.
Right. So those are gonna be the 2 that we'll be looking
Yeah, and then it does say in this directive, will be open, during the cure period time after the election. So we'll have to be open at our normal office hours are 8 to 5 anyway, so we're okay there.
Right.
But that Saturday, November 6th,
at. Right.
will be open 8 to 12, and then that Sunday, 1 to 5. So all the other times are just our normal.
Just our
office
normal
hours,
hours,
so that
so,
doesn't affect
yeah,
it.
so we'll have to.
Do you get
there.
quite a few voters who's Saturday, Sunday?
No.
No, I don't know if we've ever had one person.
I don't think
I know,
anybody-
actually, one time, I think, we did have somebody come in.
What do? You just have a DNR here and that's
Yeah.
the 2 of
Usually
you?
we'll split it up, like me and Melissa work, and then Karen and
I'll see if I can find any clarification on the.
Caleb, also Alex in the back. Scanner thing, if we
Oh,
have
for our
to
They
absentees.
should be one of those that, on election night, and stuff, that we did.
Okay.
Which county need to rush to, I'll have it.
Okay, good.
Which county?
Yeah, that's all right.
Issued one.
Okay, very good.
Usually we have at least a few of those.
Okay, so I guess the Trumbull case will be, for lack of a better phrase, entertaining with regard to the absence, which is the typical candidate
Right.
state where they put nothing down.
Right.
You know, of course, discounting those where they said, arguably, they said there were no signatures. Because that's what, when they signed it, that's effectively what they said. And now the Supreme Court saying it's substantial compliance if you just sign the document.
Well, they're saying if you put less than the number of uncrossed out signatures.
Right.
Yeah.
So they didn't say if you don't.
Well,
put
less
any-
than 0,
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
but they signed it. See, that's what they're saying, is they signed it.
And I mean, again, I have to restrain myself from saying bad things about lawyers, because.
Well, that's okay, I'm a lawyer.
Trust
I'm the chairman, the lawyer.
Oh, your
chairman.
card says works on commission, no money down. Maybe it's religious, works on commission, no, money down. Anyway, so, like, I could look at that and say that I could draw a line between a situation where someone has put a number on the sheet and it's lower than the actual number of signatures. I would argue there is a little difference between that and actually leaving it blank, right?
Oh, I could too.
I would see the difference between leaving it blank and writing 0. But that's just my opinion. My opinion does not matter. Seek legal advice from your counsel, and that's where it is annoying because that is a very, very common mistake. One of the most common mistakes that candidates make. So it's not like it's one of those things where it's like, once in the blue moon, yeah, I get a prosecutor call. It's like, no. Every time
Every
you're
election.
gonna file, you're gonna have, what, a half dozen or so?
Oh, we've had so many
We
this
would
time.
lose,
I mean,
yeah.
it's,
And
What- a
there's a
long
limit, of
term-
course, as to what you can tell people, because then
You
you
can,
have to be very cautious.
we can't fill out the forms for them. You can tell them it's like, sure, you fill this out, and this out, and this out.
we tell them to read it.
We give them
A
a
checklist.
what amounts to a roadmap.
Yeah.
And it's still, people don't, hey, I'll be honest, just the other day, I said to my wife, typical guy, aren't I? I put something together, and I looked at it, and said, yeah, that just doesn't look right. And she's just smiling, going, would you look at the directions? Well, why would I do that?
It's unfortunate because we had a long-time trustee that his petition was not correct this time. And it null and voided his candidacy, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's where like, this throws, it makes it more difficult. I liked what our outlook was, where it's like, look, when people come into the board and say, I want petitions for this office, we're like, we can walk them through different boards, different things, and we have their own sheets of like, take this with you, and that's your very helpful there, but it's like, it is the candidate's responsibility to make sure they're in compliance, with the law there. And, you know, if Trump any decision means that at least in regards to this one specific area, was compliance matter, and then what happens when somebody makes a different mistake, but are substantially compliant, and so on, but you know, that's just my conjecture.
It's very abstract.
Well, and then it, says, you know, as long as there's no indication of fraud or material misrepresentation, so people could see that differently.
Yeah, you can have a candidate who made a mistake somewhere else, and they come to that and say,
His office.
do you see evidence of fraud here? And I have to talk to the prosecutor, because I'm gonna get sued.
Well, again, it could be that how it's brought to you, because we've had people that leave it at the cash register of a gas station. And then someone says, oh, would you sign the petition while they're going to get cigarettes or something else behind the counter, the lotto cards, have no clue, 3 people sign.
And they might not even look at
And they're not
the
the, they're not necessarily, they're not even the circulate, the candidate comes and picks it up and counts the sign. And someone called us about it, because they actually, it was probably a former poll worker. And called us and said, you know, they weren't doing it right, so you get all kind of,
And it can be difficult to positively prove that sort of stuff.
yeah.
Anyway, but, you know, you sign a legal document under, you know, penalty of election falsification.
Yeah.
Sign up for it, so, anyway.
All right, well, thank you for that. I think we're up to business. And so I think this is our,
I have given you a list of all the poll workers that we have to date. This is a fluid document, as you all know. I think we have 112 for this election. Thank goodness we're unaffiliated because we don't have enough Democrats in this county.
that wanted to serve.
Yeah, that we wanted to serve,
So if it's blank, as it, without
They're
being hard,
unaffiliated.
they're unaffiliated. Okay.
yes. And you can use those, and Secretary of State has changed. You need 2 per precinct, now you, or 4, you only need 2. So that helps tremendously for counties like ours. So I feel very comfortable with the number. We don't have, I've had a couple that came through, on our email system to poll workers, but I haven't heard back. I think I got of those. So training is next week. It will be Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We'd like to stop in to listen. I'm doing the same training we did last year, the one that RBN made for us. Tuesdays will be 9, 1, and 6 p.m. Thursdays the same, 9, 1, and 6 p.m. And then Friday, we're only doing 9 and 1. I've also got the information for the online training for the Secretary of State's office. I've sent that out to poll workers, so I think they're in the process of taking that as well. I did have a couple that said they were out of town next week, so I assume I'm gonna probably still have to have at least 1 catch-up session for folks like that. But I feel confident. You know, we had some of our larger precincts did have a primary this year. A lot of those same people came back. We're still going to adhere to the social distancing. We will have PPE for all of the polling locations. Masks are encouraged, same as they are here in, for early voting, but they're not mandatory. For the poll workers or the voters.
And we kept all our voting location managers.
No.
I was gonna ask, who did we lose or?
No, we, Mary Lou Bierke, and I don't know how to say that. Biker,
I think it's
Biker, she is going back to Porterville. She was not comfortable working during COVID last year. So she's coming back, which also brings two of her friends who were longtime co-workers, so they're all coming back. Who else did I change? Candy Nelson is still, I think that's the only new one.
Oh, for New Metamorphs.
All New Metamorphs because Lays Amos is on the ballot. He's running for city village council. So, Longworth, or no.
Longfellow.
Diane Longfellow is going to be the voting location manager there. And
New
she's,
Metamorphs?
yes. And she came to the training that we had. So,
Is she not listed?
huh?
Is she not listed?
Yeah, she may not,
On, 30, for the 30, or no, she was on Ludlow.
yeah, she's left.
35.
This is done by town, by precinct.
Okay.
This isn't done by voting location. So I have told Newport and Newmat, and I'm gonna let Becky Kirkbride know and Paul Paw, in case they get them. You know how we said we were gonna have the runners, but as soon as the polls close, to bring the TMs, the USB ports into us. Since Newport, I've only got 4 workers at Newport and Newmat anyways, so I told them that they could just bring all of their things into there. So, and there's never been many problems up there at all.
Lower Salem and Newport.
Newport and Newmat, and I may say to Lower Salem, to Paw Paw as well. Because I think I've got 5 now at Paw Paw. And to be honest, any more than 5 up there, they're running into each other. They had 8 or 9 up there last November, and they said it was just insane. It was just too.
Well, it's too many people for the size of that
Yeah.
structure.
Oh, wait, that's in the library, right?
No, no,
We
it's
met
a little
with
church
the
in North Salem.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's a little Sunday school.
Yeah, they kind of backed in, and you kind of own that hallway section.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
so then, as it stands right now, how many people are not going to have runners? How many?
Right now, I'm saying 2, possibly 3.
Yeah.
And that's
Newmat,
Newmat,
Newport.
Newport, and possibly Paw Paw.
At least Paw Paw is not too far.
Yeah, they're not that far away.
No, it's not an issue of far,
Yeah.
it's more an issue of will they have how long does it take them to properly close up? Because,
Becky's always been one of the first.
Becky's
ones
one of the
in.
good ones.
well,
She-
I'm comfortable with her.
I know
I'm
what you're
more
saying.
interested in New Metamorphos. The lady who's gonna do that, I think you said it was
Diane.
Longfellow.
Mhm.
Has she done this before?
She has been a leader. I don't think
She's
that
been a
she,
poll worker for a long time.
yeah,
But not,
she's not been a voting location.
And,
But the director's mother also is there, who I wanted to be the voting location, but she said she wouldn't. Tammy's been a long time poll worker too, and I feel very confident.
so
up
we
there.
got tons of experience
Yes.
there, so they should be able to wrap it
Yeah.
up properly.
And to be honest, I may ask, I don't know that, I could ask Jed and Mike, I don't know. I was thinking if worse come to worse, we could have a DNR, one of the delivery guys, go up there and get it if we have to, if we find that they're delaying.
well, in
But I
general-
don't think Jed could.
Well, he won't be on the ballot there. at Newport.
Oh, okay,
So-
okay. But at Newport, really?
Newport, he wouldn't.
Yeah,
So you couldn't have them do the same size.
Do both, I
You
mean.
need to
Yeah.
get someone else to place a check, because that's
Yeah.
not even, that's for in.
Yeah,
they gotta go by it,
Right.
so we'd have to have someone else, okay.
Yeah.
So, all right.
but if, we need a motion to accept the,
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the Board of Elections poll workers as presented by the director and deputy director.
Have a motion and second to approve that poll worker list. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Looks like the next item is to take care of our delivery guys again.
Right, in the past, the stipend, and for several elections now, has been $400 for each. Didn't know if you want to keep it that same.
Well, for this election, it's gonna be pretty modest.
Right.
And we have a couple of new people.
Yeah, we have Brian Taylor.
Who?
Brian Taylor. He was recommended by Willa. He's from the Democratic side. And he came in and helped Becky.
Excellent.
So that was
So did you have a new one on the Republican side?
fun. Dave White.
Oh, that's right, Dave White.
So I think 400 is appropriate.
Yeah.
We have a couple.
It's gonna be a fun month, like I said.
And I mean, we are delivering all of our equipment,
Yeah.
as normal for the elections.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So-
I'll go ahead and make a motion, we, give the 400 stipend to the,
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. And you've got our delivery truck?
Yeah, the delivery trucks were secured and they, I think it was, came in below, it was like 11 something.
we have just been lucky to get them, I think,
Yeah.
from what we've been doing and not, knock on wood, I mean,
Yeah,
it's been a big difference.
that's been really helpful, yeah.
So we already approved that, so you're just.
Yeah, so it's just to let you know that it did come in under the levels.
And we are voting.
Yeah, I actually forgot to make a copy of the machine allocation, but it was the same, you'd approved it once, but you're supposed to reapprove it.
Right.
But it's the same.
Right. So I need a motion to approve the allocation of the voting equipment for November 2nd.
Second,
All right, have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Good. I asked her to come, Mandy, I didn't know if you had that in there about the,
Yeah, I had in there about our calls.
Wood County, yes.
that's the
yes.
next item, you're on top of things, Carol.
I'm trying, I'm not always, but I'm trying.
Well, how can we help Wood County out with their voter problems?
Well, the guy contacted us because the Eric system said that the gentleman had voted here and there as well.
Now, the Eric system, let's,
It's that,
It's a program, that's various states, report, not all states are part of it. But certain states are part of this program that shares voting history and, for deceased people as well, between the states.
Right. Someone puts
So-
their vote in,
Yeah.
All right.
So West Virginia must have compared these, the voting results from theirs with Ohio's. And noticed that this guy voted in Wood County, West Virginia, and Washington County, Ohio.
Early voting for the November election or this?
yes, the November election,
November 2020 election.
yes.
Okay,
Wood, West Virginia.
I say.
So God bless them.
So,
But they are checking.
yeah, they are, they were going to contact the Secretary of State to say, yes, the gentleman had voted in Washington County and in Wood County, West Virginia. And the interesting thing, the day that ballots by mail is the same day we received his ballot for Washington County, by mail.
Basically mailed out.
So probably on the same day.
And do we have any indication as to where this voter resides?
That, he
I
has,
mean, we have ours.
he said that he registered, of course, their deadline is later, so he registered after our deadline in Wood County. So I'm assuming he lives in Wood County. But, they were still, he had to dig through their filing cabinets because they have not scanned all of their request forms in yet. So he was going to go back and check to see when they received that request form for the ballots.
All right, so we've gone through our records and we have ours.
Yes, I had given a printout to Mandy and Karen.
Right, so we have ours, if you will, scanned in.
Yes.
Materials. And so,
And the gentleman was 85 years old.
Yeah, he's in his 80s.
and so, someone who'd been for a significant period.
I do believe
I was
so.
gonna say, I didn't remember how, I actually forgot to bring it over with me. It's on that black thing for me.
Okay.
Do we know the timeline of, like, when he requested his Ohio ballot versus when he registered to vote in West Virginia?
I didn't write down the dates that he had registered, but I know it was,
I think he was in the initial mail out, I mean, if I remember right. When we initially mailed out ours, the first day we were allowed to, this would have been included in that.
So he voted absentee in both states.
yes.
Yeah. By mail.
But I think what you're looking at is, when did he make the request?
You know, and obviously there was, you know, justifying the situation, trying to see how it could have happened. It's like, what if he was registered to vote here, requested an absentee ballot, and then suddenly he actually moved to Wood County and registered to vote there before their deadline, and now says, I'm a West Virginia voter, and give me my ballot, but then he already requested a ballot here, and now I'm in. I don't know, either way it's bad, but I'm just trying to think of how could that have happened absent any malicious intent?
Well, we've had folks who voted in a small election. That's the early vote. That was her explanation. And then on election day, it was the big election. So she had to go vote. I couldn't quite understand why she didn't get to vote in the big one. They made her vote provisional. And we sent that off to the prosecutor under voter education, which is a slightly different approach.
You want me to go down and get the paperwork that I printed off, or?
Well, I think,
Has Frank's office been notified of this?
We've not notified him yet,
Okay.
unless Wood County has.
I think we're still putting our ducks together. I'm sure it's not his father's son out there.
I'm scheduled to talk with my supervisor today, so I'll put it on his radar, so he's going to get forward to it, but I'm very sure that will probably not that our office that is very curious about the situation, so.
I have to, taking care of my elderly in-laws, I have to believe that this was, you know, part of age related as well. I think it makes sense, he may have, you know, had been living in Ohio on his own or something, and maybe his daughter or family needed him to move to West Virginia, and he, you know, I see that happening. Of course, I always look at things from the brighter side of the cloud as compared to the darker
What's
side.
the use of nursing when they can find us on the other side of the river?
Right, I mean, it could be
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, moved in with it.
Yeah.
All right, well, keep up.
When was Washington County contacted by Wood County about this?
It was like,
2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Well,
about
it was on
yeah, it was
vacation.
maybe he was on vacation, that might have been.
Yeah, that's
last
what it
week.
was.
I mean, that last week was September.
Yeah, last week of September.
Last week.
And I told Karen we probably should call them back and see what they figured out from their secretary. There's a way he was telling me that their secretary of state said not to contact us because we couldn't give them that information. So you can go on our website and find these and such. So I said, it's not,
Ask for a list of who voted in specific election. You really want to bother board staff. Have somebody go and request, I want the results of the presidential election in precinct split, including the ones with one voter, and then you find out how that specific person voted.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Julie letters up and kind of higher.
Yep. Yep.
And then, next on there, we have the
Thanks,
NCOA
Melissa.
process.
you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
So we sent out over
Yeah,
5,000.
so that's all done. This will be held, or launch, will be held.
Yes, thank you.
Are you getting the return?
Oh, every day, there's a
Yeah.
stack.
Every day, is that right?
There's some undeliverable, some are good.
I just, it just confounds me. Somebody likes to move a lot more than I ever do.
People do seem like to do, I don't.
I've lived in the same house for 46 years, so. I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Also, LNA testing's been completed, everything. We didn't have, everything, checks out or good, but we did have 2 OBOs, that need work on them. So we're using spares, place of those, but we're supposed to have someone maybe come today, or sometime this week to fix them.
That's all part of our contract.
Yeah. And then, there were 2 Freedom boats that I believe it's the screen and maybe a power.
It's so important that I'm glad the BLMs have their own specific training, is again, these machines just not being shut down properly. The election day is still going on.
Yeah,
Freedom
so-
Let you shut down. And it infuriating because it takes forever for those guys to get that back to a clean slate again. So one of the things we're gonna emphasize next week at Paul Whitford training, if they are turning, making sure that they talk with their BLM, have a good understanding of how to close these machines. Because a lot of
They
them,
actually turn
a lot of them were charged out because they left them on, they didn't turn them off.
What do you mean
Like they may not have,
they closed the pole?
they closed the, that they didn't close.
But
shut
they didn't
down.
turn it off.
Yeah, couldn't turn the machine off and then you plug it in and it's dead on their door now.
Well, again, based on our allocation, probably fairgrounds with the greatest number.
Yeah, then a lighthouse.
And how many will there be? Yeah, lighthouse.
I think there's 18.
18 freedom boats and every precinct, every voting location has 2 OVOs. Now, Ryan,
And your
Shillito,
problem is with both of them not being turned on?
But just the freedom boats.
just the freedom boats.
Yeah, the OBOs.
The OVOs seem to be okay, as long as they're shutting them down.
So you have a large number.
Yeah.
And so is that too much for the voting location manager to do that personally?
Mike could do it, he probably does,
He
since he's the
probably
one.
does.
Um,
I mean, we always.
Peggy,
we've been
Peggy is
showing
back
that
at Lighthouse too. We do have a new BLM at Lighthouse, but she's a former.
Are we able to track what precinct or what voting location it didn't turn on? You must be
I
able
don't
to
remember
track
what they.
I mean, once
I
we,
think Lighthouse was.
I do think Lighthouse was one of the problems. So
Then
remember
why
how
don't we
things
make
came
sure
from
that we
Lighthouse.
And I
contact
think
her?
Porterfield was, and those are both.
Well, Porterfield, right. But then again, Porterfield.
Was a problem.
Right. All right. So I guess my point is, would be my advice, that those locations, there's a problem. The other ones, apparently, we're gonna be in good shape because we have the same people. Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe just a reminder, but on those big ones, maybe we tell those voting location folks, the BLM, we want you doing that. Because we don't want these machines, shut down improperly.
Well, and it's the end of the night. I know it's been a long day. Everybody's trying to help, so they can get out of there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I will talk to the BLM.
I mean, it's not that an elaborate a procedure
Yeah.
that they can't do. And they can tag along one other person,
Mhm.
et cetera, so that they get a good feel for it, so that
Yeah.
they're training people.
And, we will have that different close card this time.
That should help as well. We actually have a code that we can close those machines with, and that
So
will.
that should make it a lot easier. this time.
Exactly. But again, my point is, I think that.
It's a QAR code.
The fewer
You scan
folks,
it, and it
the better.
says, do you want to close down voting? Push yes.
Because again, it just increases our LNA
Right,
process.
and our maintenance process.
Right.
And it was suggested by our, Ryan, our vendor. I told him that we had, because we were getting concerned because we were having problems with OBOs, but we had, we're using the backups. And he said, his suggestion is that you don't use both OBOs at the same time.
Like, if you
One-
have both of them there.
If you have
but
both of
only
them there,
turn
see,
one
each
on.
voting location gets 2 scanners. Well, we do it for the ease of the voter and getting out sooner, and he's like, because I suggested that you just open one, keep one up, and just have the other one as backup, but we've never had a problem.
Yeah, the only thing I can see is the one goes down, they go to flip on the other, and it doesn't start up.
Yeah.
No, we don't know that, we haven't had a chance for fixing it.
Right.
And we did find in our LNA testing, the same thing we found last year, that high-speed scanner,
Just something.
It's not-
But it's.
and Mandy was in there. Mandy, you want to talk a little bit about the high-speed scanner and how we found the same problems we were
Yeah,
having?
I'm sure you all remember in November of 2020, where we had to rescan our ballots. And our high-speed scanner turned out to be kind of a low-speed scanner because they were not scanning through quickly. Well, he found that he had that same problem doing our LNA testing. With the ballots we scanned fine through the OBOs, but then there's nothing wrong with the ballot, but the high-speed scanner would reject it, which is what was happening in November. So they're gonna do some testing. They took some of our test ballots, to try testing them on another high-speed scanner that's the same as ours, to see if it gives a problem on that, on another machine. But potentially it could be maybe the paper, or if it's our scanner.
Machine.
Yeah, if it's our machine. So,
And
When's he gonna have the results of that?
I'm not sure when it was gonna be. It was gonna be pretty soon,
Okay.
but I'm not sure exactly what day.
Is it a warranty or is it part of the maintenance contract?
That's what we're waiting to see, if it be covered or not.
he suggested that a county our size, with as many votes as we have, that we might want to consider
The
investigating
larger.
the larger.
We have what's called the they call it the OBCS mini, so it would be just the regular size.
Now, if we had the grant money that we had last year,
What?
If we had grant money.
yeah, if we had the grant money that we got last year, I'd say I'd be all for it, but.
Did he tell you what, you remember what the difference in price is? I remember it's quite a few thousand
Well, that
dollars.
little one was 66 last year.
That
was-
one it cost like 100,000, I'm not sure, but I would say at least. Probably 100,000.
Now, and I'll play devil's advocate. What we did for LNA testing, we just took the top of an OBO and we just ran it through there. And it was fine. So, we could do the same thing, potentially do the same
Luckily, this
thing.
is a smaller turnout election,
Yeah,
so we're gonna be fine for this election. So hopefully we'll. And mostly what we use the scanner for are the large size paper ballots that people are voting by mail. And was taking those fine.
Yeah, it
Some of
takes-
Those also.
it takes the paper ballots fine.
And it
It's
takes
just having
those
a problem, and Ryan was thinking that it might have been even potentially the paper. He wanted us to test every roll of paper. I was like, we can't do that. We have boxes. I said, Ryan, we have to figure this out. I said, we'd have crates full of that paper. And I said, I am not doing, you better figure something else out.
He thinks it's the scanner, the.
How old is that scanner? Did you got the
At the same
new?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, all in 2022. So it's not very old.
And it's not been used.
Right, so I mean, it's only used at election time, so it's not that much. So we'll keep you informed on
Please.
what we find out on. But otherwise, everything is tabulated correctly, all of our results came out correctly from our testing, so that's good. And our backup paper ballots, our large size paper ballots did come in, so we have those now, for the election.
Have we put it into our bags?
Not
No,
yet,
they
yeah, they
just
just
arrived.
came yesterday.
So we'll be doing the supply bag, all of that.
Yeah,
Is that
the
still?
supply bags are, almost completely done. There's a look that we have to put in there, but we're still working on it, otherwise they're ready. So they're just about that, so, which won't take too long.
The casters for the rolling shelves are somewhere in limbo between Lowe's and here. I ordered them September 15th. No, I think it was earlier than that, I think September 2nd. But
That doesn't surprise me.
they're just, so I'm hoping that we don't have to use, those old wheels. Because I know the guys say it's,
There's
They're
there's a
bending
couple
and-
of those parts you can't. use.
yeah, we can't even use because
I
of
would
that
think
wheel,
so.
so. So I'm still, it just says it's in purgatory.
And then I have our copy of our secret time.
Yeah.
But I couldn't print it in color this time.
Oh, well, I know it.
Since we had our problem. You know, but you can see, or where it, the column that's curved is, what we have now, and then the one, numbers up above that were from the last meeting. So you can see how they've changed.
So they're probably gonna inch up, right?
Yeah, as we get, we only get to be open, later one week, it'll be the week before the election, we're gonna open to 7. And then we'll be open the Saturday before, 8 to 4, and the Sunday 1 to 5.
Yeah. And then we'll have the,
And then if you're able to.
Which will be closed,
That one.
November 11th for Veterans Day. That's a Thursday. And we'll be closed for that.
and so, our early voting is running apace.
Yeah, everything's been. smooth
There have
so
been
far.
no
It's been
issues.
Our first absentee survey, second absentee.
Is it running about usual this time?
I would say, yeah.
Get the reminders, so they forward you the reminders that they send to you, to say that they're out this survey,
Mhm.
but I haven't been able to.
You don't get to
look
see
at it.
anything.
So what is it so far?
You know, 42 really off. So 304 people voted by mail and 28 of those came back. So we had 4 who were CAPA, none of those came back yet. One of them was by mail and 3 were by email. So it's 450 altogether.
We've not had any issues. We were here Monday because we had to finish the reconciliation for the LNA testing with the vendor. And 4 people tried to vote Monday.
Oh, there was
way
way more, there was more than 4.
Oh, there was?
There was
more?
way more than that.
Oh, okay.
There was
So,
a lot of people, so we put a note on the door handle. I mean, there was something already posted on the window, but we put something on the door handle so people can easily see. Yeah,
Yeah.
several, there was quite a few people trying to come
Stop me, can't stop me.
in. So,
yeah.
Certain people have a history.
and then there was a couple people we even talked to, because, saw them walking. And we told them, they're like, oh, I forgot it was Columbus Day today.
Everybody's got a day off, every convenient day to work.
Mhm.
And they, I think some of these people are the ones we talked to are retired and so.
Yeah.
So we're in good shape. The only,
Oh, we got one.
Here you go.
are we still in the process of, thinking about buildings for, next, primary?
Oh, for the schools?
Well, no, that's the primary,
Oh,
early,
for
early
early voting,
voting.
we needed it.
Yeah.
Primary.
We haven't really got to work on that too much this past.
Mhm.
since
Um,
the last meeting.
I did, well, we talked to the commissioners about it when we met with them. over the budget. Ideally, I still think if it's available, the fairgrounds, that's plenty of parking. Now Candy did tell us that they, BLM training, because Candy Nelson is the board secretary, fair board secretary, that they have put security cameras around the fairgrounds, around that junior fair building. So that will be beneficial when we do have early voting.
Were they thinking now that they were going to have requests already sort of in the pipeline?
Well, and that's why I need to talk with her. I'll try to give her a call this afternoon and see if she can tell me what's on the calendar. Because early voting is the May primary.
The primary was for this meeting next year.
It's May 9th, no, 10th, no? Okay. The first Tuesday after the first Monday, correct?
It'd be the third.
If I was smart, I would have already updated.
No. Yeah, April 5th, we'll start early voting.
You know, the November one, I think it's November 8th. It's closed.
So it's late next year.
Yeah, for next year.
So again,
That's the
just,
first Monday.
I guess keep in mind as you're driving around and, you spot something, you go, hey, there's a government building we hadn't thought about or whatever. What's down the road? Who all is down there on Davis, down the hill? Where they were gonna,
Well-
we considered
That's
going up
true.
to tear everything out.
Yeah,
That we moved task force, the,
yeah, the deputies, yeah.
They're
But I don't-
the
They're
sheriff,
in 202, yeah.
are they the only ones?
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah, extension went over across the
Because
road.
and
Yeah.
Family and Children First was in there, and they moved over to where the health department is. Muskegon and Manville.
I did talk with some people about the armory, possibly. There is an elevator to the gymnasium. So that might be a possibility.
Yeah,
as
except
well.
there's a park,
I was gonna say,
I know,
if
the parking is somewhat, but
because isn't that part of that, rented?
Yes, it is.
just over by the labor, or not the labor, the pipe fitters. I think those.
There's one right by the pipe fitters and
I think so, yeah.
My only concern about the armory, two of us are gonna have to be down.
Well, no
No matter where we
on
go, yeah.
God's good earth.
Yeah,
The only issue is, again, this only if it were available for the duration.
the problem, it is not. This is used pretty much as the county-wide training center.
Right.
It's used pretty often.
And just last week, they had a class that filled our entire parking lot.
Well, no, I get all of that, but some of those classes are probably, they pick the time.
Right.
So you could tell them that time is not good. So forgetting for the moment here, we have that.
Which I heard they're supposed to clear out the room we used last time.
But they're putting cubicles in.
Well, I think though, they were gonna try to keep it as a training room
Oh, really?
until they build supposedly another one back here in the storage. That's their plans.
Well, then what are they gonna do with it after the storage area is built?
Then they would have in the current one, but then there would be the one back here.
So their plan, at least at this point, is to have some.
To have some kind of training. Yeah.
My next question is, obviously, there's the exit sign there that come and go. The groups that use this, is that their method?
Yes.
Yeah, they're coming in.
They come through that door.
Yeah.
They don't come in homes.
So if it were possible to block that, what about this area? Do they use it for anything?
Cafeteria, very little though.
Yeah,
Rich
I'm
is
not,
the one.
Well, it might be worth it in progress.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if we could block that off and then come through the exit to use this room or whatever, and because that seems to me that would be big enough. We could walk people
If
in.
anybody has those expanding, those things that are
Yeah.
on the divider.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a divider room you could put across there
Right.
and people could vote in here.
Yeah,
I like
either
that idea.
expander or the
Or
ones
put
that
up like a
are
curtain.
rollers.
Yeah.
They have, legs, those, those
What-
office cubicle walls that you can move around on rollers.
And I don't know what commissioners, what the status is on all of the ERA money. The city council, Marietta City Council is taking requests now for theirs. I guess if I had a one wish, I'd like to see us have our own training room and coming straight out from that grassy area, right where we just put the sidewalks in, right beside mine and Emily's. Expand out to the sidewalk there and make that into a training room. And we could do early voting there, but, I don't know how much, I know the commissioners have been gracious across the county. And that well may be going dry, I just thought maybe we ought to stick a pail in it and see if we can get some water.
Again, I don't see him doing a lot of that sort of work. The other thing we had used, remember in the past, was a curtain system down at the courthouse. Where you rent one, they're really, those heavy duty sort of sound dampening affairs. So that might be something.
That might be the cheapest direction to go anyway.
Go, or actually make a purchase and find if we were gonna do it. Again, I'm just suggesting that area, because we'd only be taking it up for roughly 30 days. For early voting, and we wouldn't have to go through all the structure. So,
Yeah.
Which would be helpful.
and the voter could come in, again, depending on what they're going to do, they talked about having offices and cubicles in that hallway by the bathroom.
Yeah.
I can't conceive that you can have a bathroom system, take it away in the building this size.
Right.
So that would be a code problem. So my point is, they could walk in, we currently register them.
Right.
They come down the hallway, they vote here,
Use it a lot, maybe
go out
where
the
they're
other
thinking
door,
they put cubicles in there.
so they didn't have to come back to our office.
You hear a different story every time. Right now, it's filled with furniture. I mean, it's filled to the gills.
Possibilities,
Yeah.
From,
From Jobs and Family Services and Children's
and they
Services.
want to search.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of moving
That's
across
the
the road.
question.
And maybe there would be this would be great. One of the library,
Yeah.
on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, if this were, but again, I'm just thinking if this is gonna be used by them. Now, if it turns out they have a calendar, and they know they can calendar this room empty for early voting when we're telling them here are the dates.
Right.
Then I days we have to
Thirty.
Because again,
30
same
to 35. I
situation.
mean, it's typically the
Walk
Tuesday,
them here,
first Tuesday of the month.
Yeah.
Then they.
and for that matter, since we have to have people back here, potentially we just bring in extra
Yeah, we just
staff
have to bring in extra staff.
and have them register at the desk. But actually have them come through into this area, so get registered, come here and vote.
We have to set up.
You just have to set up equipment, but if you were moving into the fair district,
We have to set it up.
so just a thought process for
Love
us,
it.
to give consideration.
She was in Arnold. I think she was in Arnold.
And I know it's handy to have
No,
people
she was,
register in,
or Strawberry.
She was a straw.
and that would keep people out of the weather. Remember the president.
Right, so then you don't have to-
So we have to be next to
But,
first mistake of your life.
them. So maybe talk to this stuff.
I like the idea of having to do it. I mean, that's gonna be a lot easier for
I
us
mean,
on
we won't
staff.
be able to have poll workers.
That's okay.
Would be the other thing, so. Or we have to have it before early voting starts.
Yeah.
Right. You have to have the poll workers, which for some people may be problematic. so you know,
I won't need it.
back up.
I don't, unless I have new people, I don't think I'll need training before next farm year, because I'm training everybody this way.
I'll
Right, we can have it,
conflict.
right.
Because I'm not gonna have one.
Right.
So you can do that, you know, the people that, you know, smaller class
Yeah,
of people that can't make the earlier, just do it in the room.
yeah, we're putting it now, yeah.
Anything else? Looks like our calendar says November 2.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which would be election day.
Hopefully everybody.
How many
has that
days
set
after
aside.
the election, I can't remember, is it 20 or 28 days after election, we gotta do the certified count?
I think it might be like 17 days.
I'm trying to make arrangements, not being,
You can't
I'm flying back for the election.
After
Big
10.
thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it has to be after 10.
And there's a correction on here, the agenda, it will be at 5 AM, not 5
Oh, it should be
PM.
6 a.m.
6 AM, okay.
Oh, is that when you want us here at 6?
Yes,
At 6 AM, not PM, 5 PM?
Yeah.
That's good. I could be up for that.
Mm.
All right, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
All right. For the 19th.
Yeah, the business card gave you there, the cell phone number is, that's from that work cell phone, so you can feel free to call or text for this as well if you need. And then that email is super good, but if you wanna, stop by Caleb's house and get the donuts,